I am joined now by Sue Baker and Beth Birchfield, and Sue and Beth are my superstar producers. Because what the audience doesn't know is we do a lot of this on Friday, and we do some of it on Monday, Veterans Day. And Sue and Beth, you guys are just amazing. Sue, you probably heard your ears were burning. I think you're an angel. I think you're actually a mirage. You don't exist. But we're opening the show with this, so no one's heard any of these stories yet, but I've heard them all, and I'm just sort of overwhelmed at who you produced for me. Thank you. Tell us about the fund, Sue Baker, thefund.org. When did it get started? How much has it raised? How many people have you served? How do people help you?
Oh my gosh, so many good things. Good morning, Hugh. We've been in existence since 2004, and we have been able to have the opportunity to serve over 33,000 service members and their families. Um, we are continuing that with our big Bob and Renee Parsons Foundation and PXG push right now. The match is on, and we're excited about that. So every dollar that's donated today to the fund will be matched up to $10 million by the Bob and Renee Parsons Foundation and PXG. So lots of
Well,
exciting
I want people
things.
to know. I'm going to give all the details before and after I talk to the ladies, but I'm not going to waste any time. I'm going to give all the phone numbers. The fund.org is very easy. Beth, I don't know. Did you get to hear any of the interviews, or were you? I don't know what the technical situation was. Did you hear any of these guys?
I did. I did hear them.
They're just remarkable. I guess you deal with
They
you deal with miracles every day, but they're remarkable.
they are remarkable. I am a case manager for the fund, and I have about 700 of these amazing humans that I get to work with every single day. And these are men and women who took their talents and offered them up to protect our country. And even today, as we assist them with their recoveries, they still come to us and they say, "How can we help you guys?" They're just amazing, and they fill my heart with so much joy. It makes doing my job easy.
Well, on this Veterans Day, we're in this on Veterans Day. I want to honor you two and everyone else before and during and after you because you're stewards of inspiration and you have really worked miracles. And Sue, I guess you can't give up on anyone. I love talking to one of the guys. His journey's 18 years, and it was hard for 15. It's got better in the last three. How often is that the case, Sue Baker?
Oh boy, there are so many, Hugh, that are still doing that and are so grateful that we are still here beside them today. They will continue to be with us for a lifetime. We have such a special relationship. It gives us an opportunity to really get to know that family, that person, and it's a special relationship. Sam was when he called and told me he was going to get married. I was so excited for him. It was a life changing moment, and he wanted me to be there, and I was there. So we have that opportunity as case managers to be alongside our service members because they become our family, and it's a
So
special
can I ask you
relationship.
though, the emotional weight of being an angel to so many people, how do you take care of yourself?
That's a really great question. You know what? I am a pickleball player. So I find a lot of goodness in getting out and doing things and having dogs that keep my mind focused on just there are other things outside. I have a family of my own that I put myself into that. I do a lot of mental health help for myself. So I do it like that so I
All
can
right.
be ready for the day. Mhm.
Beth, I want to stress something Sue just said, and that many people will hear in the testimonies today. Forever, forever. And, when the Semper Fi Fund got started, and my origin story is Richard Botkin introducing me to Wendy Lethine, and then it's been off and running for 20 years. They said forever, but the little skeptical journalist in the back of my mind, I'm thinking they'll do a lot of good for a few years and then it will be over. But you're not over. I don't know how much money you've raised and spent, but 33,000. People, you are forever because you got great stewards, by the way, great management, 5-star ratings, low overhead, all that stuff I'll tell people about. But I mean, I think that's a pretty iron guarantee forever.
It is forever, and it's not forever just because they need assistance all the time, which we want to assist them whenever they need it, but it's forever because of the relationship we've built with them. It starts at bedside, it then continues on. I get Halloween pictures from my service members, I get Christmas pictures, we send them ornaments every year. It's not just a relationship that is about when they're in time of need. It is a relationship that builds forever. So I think that even if I tried to quit and do something different, I don't think my service members would let me. They would say, no, 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 I still need to send you Halloween pictures. So it truly is an honor to be able to have these relationships with our service members.
Okay, I'm going to come back to you both at the end of the program in a separate video. But Sue Baker, I want to emphasize the match. Instantly matched up to $10 million because of the Parsons Foundation. I want to emphasize United Way and combined federal campaign. The season is upon us, and maybe by the end of the show we'll know what the number is, but you can always look up thefund.org. I have a very nerdy technical question. Has the rebrand worked? I mean, I keep saying Semper Fi Fund, but it's the fund because you take care of all of our wounded soldiers from the long war and before and after.
Correct. The fund. Yeah, it has. It's really caught on since it's so simple. So many people can just, Google search the fund and there it is. So it's great.
And tax deductible. And if you want to ever see a board of directors that you're not going to mess around with because they got eyes on the prize and they are watching every dollar, go to the website for thefund.org. I'll be back with the ladies at the end of the program. Don't go anywhere because I've got some amazing stories for you to hear on this Veterans Day. Joined now by Master Sergeant Cedric King, United States Army, who's getting a lesson in how bad video production can be sometimes. Master Sergeant, good to see you. Where are we finding you? What are you doing there?
I'm in Savannah this morning. I'll be speaking at a conference.
Would you tell the audience where you were wounded, how you were wounded, and how the fund helped you?
Yes, I was injured in Afghanistan about 12 years ago. Semper Fi Fund, America's Fund, they both came alongside when I was at my worst. They came in, helped my family. They helped us not just then, but even today, they're helping us. And it's something is great. It's helping us put things in our house, in our new smart house, but also they've helped us even with small things during the quarantine. They came along and made sure I had enough medical supplies. They came alongside and made sure we had chicken soup and all the small things. A lot of times people think that it's the big things that people really appreciate, and we do. But it's also the monthly reminders that they send to us, the Christmas cards, the birthday cards, all these things. This is what true service is.
Master Sergeant, I'm not sure that they've sent you an Ohio State Buckeyes sweatshirt yet, but we got to work on that because you're in Georgia and you're surrounded by dogs, so we got to worry about that. The Semper Fi Fund started out serving Marines, and they opened up America's Fund. Now it's all merged into the fund. Did you know it exists before you were wounded?
Had no clue. Had no clue. And I was serving active duty. I did 20 years active duty. Had no clue. But I'm so glad I do.
So how did they find you, or how did you find them?
Hugh, they found me. I was coming out of a literal coma. I was coming out of a coma. And I come out of the coma. I look around the room. I see my wife. I see my mom. I see some nurses. Maybe a few hours later, I saw all of the folks from Team Semper Fi, and it was amazing. We didn't even really know what we needed, but they knew what we needed then, and they knew then what we needed today.
Well, on Veterans Day, I want to thank you for serving, and I want to make sure you get a chance to tell people about your recovery and what you're doing now, because I read your bio, and you're doing so much motivational speaking, writing, marathons, triathlon. I mean, this is quite a story of recovery.
It is. And just by the grace of God that I am here today, and I will spend the rest of my days making sure that people know about America's Fun and Semper Fi Fun.
How do people find you, Master Sergeant, if they'd like you to speak to them?
Master Sergeant Cedric King can be found at Cedric King MSG on Instagram, Cedric King on LinkedIn, Cedric King on Facebook,
I love
and
the testimony.
CedricKingSpeaker.com.
CedricKingSpeaker.com. I appreciate the words for the fund.org, and I appreciate your patience with our technical work this morning. God bless you. Press on. Go Buckeyes. I'm going to bring you over to the right side of football, but thank you for serving the country, Master Sergeant. Joined now by Lance Corporal Giovani Cano, United States Marine Corps veteran. Good morning, Lance Corporal. Where do we find you today?
Good morning. I'm out of Chicago, Hugh. Thanks for having me.
Oh dear. You're probably a Bears fan. You suffer as much as I do. I'm a Browns fan. Lance Corporal, tell us when were you wounded, and how is the recovery going?
June 2006. I was in Habaniya, Iraq with 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines, and I was in a VBID. So got a grade 3 concussion, was injured, got out in 2009, and ever since then, I've been with the fun, with the recovery, trying different things. I went through different careers, different jobs, and when I found the skill and the therapy through storytelling and writing, the Semper Fi Fund was able to help me out and create what I'm doing today, and that's Battle Comics. That's telling my story through the happy medium of comic books.
Well, tell us about that, Lance Corporal. How did the fund help you? Because on Veterans Day, I like people to remember the fund.org is out there. They can contribute to it and get veterans going in the direction they need to go to make their life fully complete and recovered. So what did they do for you, and what's the comic book business like?
So they completely helped me start out my business, helped me print out my first 100 copies to get sold in comic book events, little Comic Cons. It helped me pay for some of the fees every year because they get pretty pricey for the tables, and then also too to find the resources that I need in marketing and to grow my business. So right now, my comic universe is called Battle Comics Inc., and I empower veterans and inspire superheroes through the happy medium of comic book creating and storytelling. So I was able to turn my story around, and I always had a unique story of how I got injured. So I turned it into a comic book series called Quantum Man, and I get to add a little sci-fi twist, but I have a lot of fun with it, telling my story, interacting with other people, and also too interacting with veterans. It's been a very positive impact in the veteran community. Veterans have found a lot of inspiration and hope through it, and the Semper Fi Fund is also given me the opportunity to expand and reach a lot of veterans and to share this. So I'm forever grateful, and thank you to
Corporal,
all
did
the
you know
veterans.
you had this skill set? Did you know you were an artist and a storyteller before you were wounded?
Mick, just like everyone else, I always had a unique story on how I got injured out there in Iraq, and I knew I wanted to one day kind of tell it a little different, kind of in a unique way. And then I thought comic books, and I was like, oh, let me start writing. And then one book turned into two, and then to a whole series. And I found so much therapeutic, um, so much healing through it, and so much passion and drive. And I love talking about it, and I seen the impact that it had on veterans. So I was like, man, how could I package this up? How could I give this to all the other veterans? And through the Semper Fi program, I'm able to do that. So I'm very happy
Corporal Cano,
for what I do.
tell us that story. Let us glimpse what at least the beginning of that story is, your unique story on being wounded.
All right. So I was in Habaniya, Iraq, and this was in 2006 with 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines, and we were providing Overwatch in one of the OPs that we were operating out of. We were calling it OP Bears. My company commander was a Chicago Bears fan, so he named all the outposts the Chicago team. So we had like OP Cubs, OP Bears, and I happened to be in Bears. So we unfortunately we got ambushed. We got overran over. I think the newspaper ad or the newspaper report said it was over 60 insurgents that were overrunning our house, and they drove a car full of explosives. I was on the roof. I absorbed most of the blast, like very close. Got a grade 3 concussion. Was coming in and out of consciousness, and I ended up flatlining on the helicopter. Got revived. Was pronounced dead for over a minute. And during that deployment, I also had a near-death experience that kind of really altered and changed my life. So a lot of things took place in that deployment, and I wanted to tell these stories. So I found the happy medium of comic books, and created Quantum Man, and now he's got superpowers, and I'm able to inspire others through a great story and to tell my story, but in a fun way with comics. So I plan and I want to do that
Corporal,
with veterans as well.
where do they find where does the audience find the comic books? Because they're probably not only veterans, but a lot of people who want to go and find those.
Yeah, battlecomicsinc.com, and I'm also on Instagram, Battle Comics Inc. So we have links on our Instagram and then links on our website as well.
battlecomicsinc.com. Corporal, have a great Veterans Day. Thank you for telling people about the fund. Press on, and I appreciate your taking the time to be with me this morning. Now by Specialist Jose Martinez, veteran of the United States Army. Welcome, Jose. I want to know, where are you this morning?
I'm actually out in Huntington Beach, California. I am currently competing for a world title. I'm a competitive surfer for the para surf team for Team USA, representing my country in a different uniform.
You are in the happiest place on the planet. Whenever I'm in California, I go to Huntington Beach on Saturday morning. I see you guys in the waves, but I would never dare do what you do. Did you surf before you were wounded, Jose?
Actually, no. I got moved over to San Diego Naval Medical Center, and they were actually using surfing as therapy, and that's where I learned how to surf. I had never got a chance to surf as a kid or before my injury.
Now, Specialist Martinez, you're a soldier. The fund began as the Semper Fi Fund. How in the world did you find them, or did they find you? And how did they get you into surfing? And what kind of injuries did you have? This is a story. I got to dig this out because you're competing for a championship on Huntington Beach. So I want to know all about this.
Well, actually, the fund found me. I wasn't supposed to actually be alive. They pretty much wrote my death certificate almost to the time I woke up. I woke up 10 days later from a coma after stepping on a 60-pound IED. I lost 3 limbs, lost my arm, lost both of my legs, and some part of my internals, and my left index finger as well. And fortunately, when I woke up, the fund was there, and ever since they've been there for me. They've been taking care of me. They've been making sure that I can get to these events. They're making sure that I continue to live and understand that there is more to life than just what we think that's in this wheelchair. They keep showing us there's more things beyond the wheelchair. They give us a chance to try different things out. I know the fund is actually taking out people's wakeboarding, and a lot of people think they can't do it. I'm a triple amputee, sir. A lot of people told me I wouldn't even be able to walk, and I'm doing that.
Specialist Martinez, I'm actually sort of astonished because where you are is where I will be every Saturday from January to April. That's where I go. And I've seen a lot of surfers. I've never seen a triple amputee surfer. I know there are a few paths down into the water. They're paved. How in the world do you do this?
You know what? I actually have help. Just like in the military, we actually go out with the team. I have someone helping me catch the waves and someone helping me kind of paddle back out. But because I want to advance, get better, and show the rest of the world that we can get better, I've taken my training outside of it. Go to the gym for about 2 hours a day, about 5 to 6 times a week, depending on the weeks and what I got going on. So I'm constantly trying to show the world there's more to it. I put on my left BK prosthetic, get on the bike, and people are always asking me, "Can I help you?" And I turn around and like, "Well, I can help you if you need some help. I don't think you can help me." I just want to show the world.
Be nice to the old people. Be nice to the old people, Specialists. We're very slow, and we get in your way on your way to the beach. Let's talk a little bit about the fund.org. What's your relationship with them? How often do you talk to them? And no red tape. I've already had a couple of veterans tell me that, but tell the audience about how close the relationship is.
It's so close to the point where they know how to speak to me. They know I don't like getting sugar coated. I don't speak to me straight up. But more than anything, it feels like I have an aunt. June is the best. Like I can always call her if I'm having a bad day, and just to talk to her, because she understands. She knows. Her husband's a service member as well, and she knows the logistics. She knows the pain that we go through and some of the stuff that we have to deal with mentally. So the fact that the fund has always been there with me, emotionally, physically, like when I woke up, I didn't think anybody would want to help me. I didn't think I thought I had to fend for myself for the rest of my life, and gracefully they've shown me that they're part of my team more than anything, my family. So I can't thank them enough. I know that if I'm having a bad day, I can call June and just talk to her just like a regular human, and she'll answer. And if she can, she'll be like, hey, I'm on a call right now, I'll call you back in 5 minutes. And literally 4 minutes later, I'm getting my phone call. So they're a family to me, and that's all I can really say. If people know what not having a family is and having them as a backup, I mean, I would love them forever.
Specialists, I got to say, they have made the commitment to be there for our wounded vets for as long as you guys need it and you gals need it. And I've always believed them, but a lot of my audience don't believe them. Do you have any doubt that they'll be there as long as you need them?
Uh, I know they will, just because the people will continue to understand that are giving to the fund are going to the right place. I mean, I'm waving my arms here, but you can't see I'm missing my arm. But to me,
Oh,
I'm
I
not
can see it.
missing it because they've shown me that I'm human, that I'm just like everyone else. So for me, they're gonna be here for the rest of my life, and I know that. I know I can always count on them, whether I'm having a bad day, whether I need some extra help, or if I haven't seen my buddies in a very, very long time, I know I can ask them for a little bit of help and be like, hey, can you put us all in one place so we can all love each other and show each other that we're still here? I know they will do that for me at any given moment.
Specialist, you're an inspiration. You're a movie, actually. I hope I meet you on that cart path. I hope you're there between January and April, some Saturday morning. I'm pretty early, but I will look for you. And you look for the old guy who's really slow, and we'll continue the conversation, all right?
Just look for a guy with the helmet, and you'll know it's me, especially if he's laying on the prone board. And if you really
Okay.
want to see what we're doing, you can go on isasurf.org. It's going live right now. I'm trying to get into the semifinals at 8:20.
IAsurf.org. IAsurf.org. I will. I'll go watch that.
isasurf.org. Yes,
ISA.
sir.
Okay. Good luck. Win the gold.
Thank you
Do
very
whatever
much.
you got to do. Thank you,
Hopefully,
specialist. Bye bye.
this would be my second time being crowned gold. So let's see how it goes.
Oh, all right. Repeats are good. Go for the third one after that. Thank you, specialist.
Have a wonderful.
Joined now by Lance Corporal Jeff Sanders, United States Marine Corps. Corporal Sanders, good morning. Where do I find you this morning?
I am in Lincoln University, Pennsylvania, so about an hour west of Philadelphia.
Are you an Eagles fan, Corporal?
I am, absolutely, through and through. As a
I
Marine,
got a buddy.
I've never, as a Marine, I've never cried, but on the Super Bowl win, Super Bowl 52, I did.
Well, it could be worse. You could be a Steelers fan. I'm a Browns fan, but it's great to have you here. Corporal, would you tell us when you were wounded and how the recovery's going on this Veterans Day?
Yeah, so I was injured on September 6, 2004, and four Marines were seriously injured the night before, so we went out to figure out, what happened, and went into a town, Al Jaff, soccer, and we left. And when we were rolling out of town, I remember sitting there talking to Lance Corporal Hansen, God rest his soul, and I remember seeing smoke and debris out of the corner of my eye, and the next thing I knew, I was laying on the road. And it's what makes my story a little bit more wild than everybody else's is because I was blown from my Humvee as we were driving down the road 50 miles per hour or so. The SOPs are to blow through blast sites. So I got left back by the blast site. It was an ambush. I was in vehicle 3 of 4, and vehicle 4 then proceeded to blow by me. I don't really know if they went around me, if they almost drove over top of me, or what that looked like. but roughly they took up fighting positions, and then there was a 15-minute firefight until Lance Corporal Fairchild was able to go back in and actually, he didn't know what he was going back to, but thankfully he was going back to pick my alive butt off that road and, throw me in the back of a Humvee to get me to the bird.
So, Corporal, what's the journey been like since then, and how has the fund helped you on it?
I mean, the fun was I'm blessed to get in on the ground floor, and having my case manager still there. It's still an original case manager. It started with the
Wow.
support of my family. They supported my dad, drove down every weekend from central Pennsylvania to DC. So they started covering expenses there. And they've stayed alongside. I've gotten, on your Alive Day, they'll send you a gift card because they know it's your Alive Day. And that means a lot to me. And it's those little moments that keep picking you up when you're having these peaks and valleys, as I call it, with my struggles. And when you're in a valley and you need to get back up, you can always give your case manager at Semper Fi Fund a call, and they'll definitely give you that pickup.
Corporal, I've been doing these programs on Veterans Day and Memorial Day for 20 years with the Semper Fi Fund and the fund.org. I've never heard the term Alive Day before. So I've done literally hundreds of interviews with wounded warriors like you. I've never heard the term Alive Day. What does it mean?
Second chance at life, you know. So my Alive Day then is September 6th, 2004. I think HBO actually made a special at one time called Alive Day. Had like 10 severely wounded vets on, and kind of similar interview process. But it's just kind of like a second birthday we celebrate. If we're on this earth and we were injured that day, we, especially me as an amputee, and we were very, very, very close to death, and we got a second chance.
Yeah.
The
I'm
sooner
always
we
amazed. I learn.
realize,
I'm a civilian. I don't know anything about the military. I'm just a civilian, but I'm always amazed about what I learn talking to men and women like you. Tell me about the fund finding you or you finding the fund. And I always ask one of my guests who's really got it together. Um, is there red tape involved? Because the audience doesn't like red tape.
um, red tape. I mean, we are wearing the color red. I think this fund's goal is to eliminate the red tape. I mean, there's new programs coming out for the VA for housing grants and stuff, but that's where the funds really stepped in for me, is around the house, things that I just can't normally keep up with. Helping with making the home more accessible, and just kind of keeping that peace of mind so that when I'm building my business and I'm a father of three, 9, 7, and 5, I'm busy. So I need someone to be watching, out for me to make sure I'm doing the right things and keeping my head above water.
You've had the same case manager for 20 years? I mean, I knew Wendy for 22 years till she retired, but
Lisa
I,
Lisa's been my case manager the entire time, and we joked we weren't sure. I'm sure we met, but they did have that reunion 2 weekends ago, so I was able to see Lisa, and it was great. She was able to meet my wife, because she knows how, she's had lots of conversations with her, but never met her, and it's cool to see them come together and basically are like, girlfriends, because Lisa's been alongside of me as long as my wife has, in fact, much longer. So Lisa might know what
huh.
makes me tick more than my own wife.
So, very last question, Corporal, and I really appreciate you taking the time.
No
How did
problem.
they find you, or how did you find them?
They were there. I mean, day one at Walter Reed. I don't know what day it was. I was injured in September. I know that it started around that same fall time and everything, but the first thing I remember that was like super instrumental, and again, where Semper Fi Fund was started as the Semper Fi Fund. So as us Marines, we're a little biased, and I am happy that they've come around to do America's Fund as well, and support all service members. But when we were at Walter Reed, they got all the Marines, just the Marines, which if you were at Walter Reed, that meant you were an amputee. The only reason a Marine was at Walter Reed was because you were an amputee, at least that I met. And they gave us all Dell laptops. and they're like, we need you to get like back in touch with reality, check your email, get into like normal daily activities that you would have been doing prior. And I just remember that being such a good step forward and being like, no one had ever done something that nice for me before. I'm a Marine grunt, like, you know, just like we're fighters, not. And then your world gets turned
Yeah.
upside down and you realize how much more you need to support, whether TBI, PTSD, all this fun stuff that I get to enjoy every day.
Corporal Sanders, that's amazing testimony. Thank you for giving it to us on a Veterans Day. I hope you and the Eagles and the boys, your 3 kids, all do very, very well. And I appreciate your taking the time to tell us about thefund.org. Thank you, Corporal.
Thank you, Hugh. I really appreciate it.
Joined now by Staff Sergeant Jeffrey J.D. Rymoff, United States Marine Corps. Good morning, Staff Sergeant. Where do I find you today?
The country club in North Carolina. Pinehurst.
Oh, that's
North
good.
Carolina.
Are you going to play some golf?
Yes. I'm actually on the grounds crew here, and in school for greenskeeping apprenticeship program through the USGA.
Oh, very cool. Now, when and how were you injured, Staff Sergeant?
It was several injuries over the course of my career, through the deployments, just indirect fire rockets, small arms, head injuries. I was motor transport, so we hauled a lot of gear, bullets, bandages, and bombs with the MU. Humanitarian assistance, aids. The MU does all sorts of really cool things.
Well, I don't know what Marine Wing Service Support is. I've been doing this for a long time, but I'm a civilian. What does Marine Wing Service Support do?
The MWSS 272 is the mobile unit for the air wing. So anything the air wing needs transported, it calls to us to move the wing.
So let me have you start, Sergeant. What is the fund? How did you find the fund? What has your relationship been with them like?
In 2016, when I got medically separated from the Marine Corps after 13 years, like most other veterans, you just kind of feel lost. You don't know what to do. So I was a member of this organization, and I felt like I didn't deserve it. There's more deserving veterans out there that might have done more, that have done more than me. So it was a lot of inner turmoil with myself, and then finally it just came to a head, and my wife was, hey, you need to do something. So I went into the Semper Fi Fund with, I'm going to learn golf because that's what old retired people do, and that's what I was going to do. I went down to Alabama and met the Semper Fi Fund team down there and fell in love with golf.
And did they talk to you about becoming the greenskeeping apprentice? That's a first. I've done 40 of these shows.
No,
That's a first.
Yeah, the greenskeeping apprenticeship, it's only the second course. This is fairly new career path for me. When I got out in 2016, my wife and I moved back here to the Pinehurst area where she's from. I'm originally from Hershey, Pennsylvania, but we moved back to where my wife is from. And then in Moore County, there's a lot of golf courses. Pinehurst, anchor site for the U.S. Open. Everybody knows about that. So just right down the road in Pinehurst is the Country Club in North Carolina, private club, members only that play it. I worked at Pinehurst for 3 years and then came over here. Through the Semper Fi Fund, they have given me life, really. The game of golf is, you can take it as serious or as not serious that you want, and it just comes down to, at the end of the day, it's just you and a ball. You get outside.
Staff Sergeant, I know I am a
air.
great caddy and a terrible golfer, and I like to caddy. I love being on the golf course, so I envy you that. How did the Semper Fi Fund help you?
They actually have gotten me into the golf. I've taken lessons. I've gotten clubs. I've learned through other members going to events throughout the country that it's not about how good you are. It's not about what happened in your life. It's about what moving forward. It's about the next shot. It's don't dwell on your past. It's just keep moving forward. That's the biggest thing Semper Fi Fun has taught me.
That's a big deal. Have a great Veterans Day, Staff Sergeant Rymoff. Thank you for spending some time telling our audience about the fund. And it's inspiring, actually, and I'm inspired by it, and I appreciate your taking the time to tell it on the air. Thank you.
Well, thank you, sir.
Joined now by Sergeant Major Raymond Mackey, retired from the United States Marine Corps. Sergeant Major, good morning on this Veterans Day. Thank you for joining me. Where do I find you this morning?
You find me in my kitchen in Richland, North Carolina.
Well, it's good to talk to a North Carolina person, probably a Panthers fan. Let me ask you, Sergeant Major, when were you? Of course, my in-laws are Panthers fans. It's kind of a forlorn experience. Sergeant Major, when were you injured? What was the nature of your injury?
I'm a double amputee above the knees. I was injured in December 23rd, 2009 in Helmand Province, Afghanistan.
Oh, it's a rough neighborhood. I've read enough. I'm a civilian, but I've read enough. Tell me how you got in touch with the fund. Actually, let me ask you, did you know the fund existed when you got blown up?
Well, I actually did a little bit because, as a sergeant major, we had the whole battalion come in and listen to what the fund does for people, and then after that, we deployed and went off to Afghanistan, and who knew that 6 months later I would be being reintroduced to them again.
So, did they meet you at the hospital? Did you reach out to them? How did it happen?
They were just there. I opened my eyes, and there was my what I finally figured, what I now know is my caseworker is Janine Canty, and they weren't really there. They were there for me, but they weren't really there for me. And my biggest worry was, you know, my wife's up here, she needs help. She don't know what's going on. And, next thing I know, they scooped her up and took care of her. And I think that helped me get better, better than anything else, is I didn't have to worry about her because they were taking care of her.
Talk a little bit about that, Sergeant Major, because some spouses get a lot of love from the fund and they appreciate it. We talk about it, and I sometimes forget to bring it up. What did they do for her?
Well, first off, my wife was up there in December, and like most women from North Carolina, she went up there dressed like a North Carolinian, and it snowed 29 inches. And so, first thing right off the bat, they got her some boots.
Good.
And
And how often are you in touch with them? I mean, boots that's perfect because that's practical.
Yeah, I try to stay. I try to stay in touch with Janine at least once a week. Give her a call to see how she's doing. You know, but
How's your recovery now? How's life treating you now?
Well, I no longer. I don't bleed all over the place anymore. I'm not going to say I'm independent, but I'm doing well. Me and my wife, and with and Simplify helps us out with stuff when we when we need it, or if they find out we might be looking for something. Hey, we got this program, or we got this this thing with a Home Depot that like they redid my backyard after I came home to where I could get around in either my prosthetics or my wheelchair.
Oh, That's a first. I've been doing these for 20 years, and I haven't heard of a backyard being redone before. So that's a new one. Sergeant Major, in terms of red tape, I like to emphasize to the audience there isn't any, but I like that confirmed. You just call up, right?
Yes. I have a direct number to my case manager, and that's what we do. We just give her a call and see if she can help us. And we got a lot of stuff that we take that they help take care of us. Back then they used to wear red shirts. Now they wear blue for America's Fund and Semper Fi Fund. But here, it was like when I opened my eyes and there was that lady with the red shirt. I just called them like the Red Angels or something.
Well, I still call them the Semper Fi Fund when I forget. We got to remind people it's thefund.org, and they take care of service members who are wounded from all branches, but they got started at Camp Pendleton. And Sergeant Major Raymond Mackey, thank you for spending part of your Veterans Day with me. I appreciate the time. Thank you for your service to our country and continued success.
Anytime, Hugh.
Joined now by Corporal Sam Floyd, United States Marine Corps, retired. Corporal, welcome. I understand congratulations are in order. You got a new baby. Congratulations.
Yes, sir. She is 10 weeks old, and she screams a lot, but she is just a huge blessing, and she's amazing. Honestly, I didn't really know how to love before. She's teaching me every day. So thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Well, I'm so happy for you. Tell us, Corporal, when were you wounded, and how has the recovery gone?
Yeah. So I guess the I'm sorry. Yeah. So I sorry. I was hearing stuff in the background. I apologize. Yeah. So I guess back from Afghanistan, it's been, the answer to that question is a tough one because it's been just a process of recovery since I got back. It's now been 2006 I got out, and it's 2024 right now, which is crazy. So it's it's yeah, it's just been a hard one. It's just been a hard process, but I would say in the last like 3 years, I've really had an opportunity to really grow and really recover and just do a lot of things. So I'm just so thankful for that.
I'm so glad you said that, Corporal, because 18 years is a long time, but there's some people listening with veterans in their lives and some veterans who know exactly what you're talking about. I don't. I'm a civilian, but I've talked to enough wounded warriors over the years that it takes a long time to get on the right path. How did the Semper Fi Fund and then the fund help you?
Yeah, yeah. I can't even put it into words how much they really helped me. From the moment that I called, I just felt like I was heard. From the moment, and her name was Sue Baker. She's my case manager, and she just is amazing for one thing, and also too, it's just that was the first time that I felt like somebody was there to listen. So because I was just scrambling through life. I was going from college to college to trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life, and I was just so lost. I was currently married at the time, and I just do feel so bad to this day to her because I didn't really know who I was when I married. So we ended up getting a divorce, and I was just in the lowest part of my life. And the fund and Sue Baker, I wouldn't be here without them. I really wouldn't. And I'm just, I'm just so thankful that God brought me to the Semper Fi Fund. Just my faith and the Semper Fi Fund and coffee has really, really just, and now my baby girl and my wife, of course, has given me a new meaning, and that's my identity now, and I love it.
Now, where are you living now, Corporal?
Yes, sir. I'm in Cano, Wisconsin. That's a hard one to pronounce. So it's all.
Oh my goodness.
It's about 30 minutes south of Green Bay. So we get the Sunday morning Packer traffic. We're that close to that. So we're on the east side of the state in Wisconsin.
Are you Packers Nation man?
We have to be. It's you
I
gotta
was
be.
wondering.
Yes,
It's
yes,
not really an option.
yes, sir.
I've
It's a
had
second religion for sure.
your Congressman Mike Gallagher, another Marine, has been a frequent guest of mine over the years. I want to thank you for joining me on a Veterans Day program, Corporal, because people need to know what the fund does, and they do it for a long time. And I especially appreciate your saying it's hard, it's long, and it gets better. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Am I getting that right? It's hard, it's long, but it gets
Yeah.
better.
You nailed it, sir. Yes, it's hard. You got to put in the work. But it's so worth it. And just to give you an example, like last weekend, I had a really really bad 2 days. It was just I was depressed. Yeah, I just but the difference is now is well, now I have a wife, I have a new meaning, I have a daughter, and also too is just like I found my identity in God. So I'm a strong Christian, and I just kind of go back to that. So now it was instead of like a month or two that used to be 2 months where I would just be out. I would just be so depressed. Now at the very most it's 2 days, and I'm bounced right back, and I'm just so thankful for that. I can recognize what I have and recognize that I'm going to deal with it throughout my life. Like it's gonna be there. But as soon as I accepted that, then things changed. Then I'm just like, all right, this sucks now, but it's gonna be
Sam,
better
no one
tomorrow.
else can tell that story. I'm a professional. I can hear that, so I can't tell that story. So I am so glad you stuck to it and you told that story. And I am absolutely 100% certain a lot of people hear that this morning on Veterans Day, and they're going to take that with them. Thank you for
Yes.
telling me that. Congratulations on the baby and your wife, and I just appreciate your service and your candor. God bless.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. God bless you. Thank you so much.
I am back with Sue and Beth, our friends from thefund.org. The combined federal campaign number, which I mentioned at the beginning of the show, is 11459. 11459. Of course, you sent it to me, and of course, I didn't see it because you guys are always well prepared. I don't want to elevate one of our service members above another, but I think Mr. Martinez is a movie. I am so, and so that might be because he's at Huntington Beach today, and I am down there a lot when I'm in California. Sue? Are you his caseworker?
No, my friend June is his case manager, but I've met him and done a photo shoot with him. He's an amazing guy.
Well, all of these veterans, Army, Marines, we didn't have an Air Force guy or gal today. They're all amazing, Beth. And I don't want to rank anyone by the climb that they've had, but it's got to be gratifying when people get out of depression or PTS and they get back into life, and you're just watching them grow.
It is amazing. I've had one service member that I've had for probably about 10 years, and he was really struggling. He had a really rough time in the fall when he was in Iraq. And every fall, he would really, really struggle and dive deep into PTSD. And then now he owns his own trucking business. He has a family. He's doing amazing. The resiliency of our service members is remarkable, and it is remarkable to watch it.
So I want to close this way. Thefund.org, give money to it, but also let them know if you know of a wounded warrior who is suffering. And Sue, am I right to tell them that? Because we got to tell people it's okay to be depressed. It's okay to be hurting physically or mentally, and there are people who will help you. So how do they find people when they need people?
Absolutely. So anyone can reach out to thefund.org, and our intake case managers are ready to get your information and get you connected with a case manager. We are in this season now, like you said, Hugh, of the match is on. The Bob and Renee Parsons Foundation and PXG will match every dollar up to 10 million right now. So this is a great time for donors. It's a great time for service members that are sitting there in need of support. Reach out to the fund. We're here.
So let's talk to donors now directly, Beth. Do you think there's any better investment in a veteran? Everyone tries to help veterans. I always have turned down other organizations, and they're good ones, but I say the overhead, you guys are just so skinny. You're the skinniest charity I've ever seen. I think it's less than 8%. You want to talk to that? How
It
you
is.
managed to do that?
Yeah, we manage that because 7% is our overhead. So that means that
Wow.
93 cents of every dollar that you give goes to our service members. And we strive to to always have that be our number. And we do that through our volunteers. And some of our volunteers are our service members, or it's any parts of the military community, or people who want to support the military community. If making a donation is difficult, we will always take your time and talents to help us stay at that low overhead.
I'm glad you mentioned that. And I want to close there, Sue. Anyone who wants to put on a fundraiser for the fund can do so. Anyone who wants to contribute can do so. Is there an endowment, by the way? And I want to mention my brother-in-law is a retired Marine. He's got you folks in his estate, thefund.org. Do you have anyone to help estate planners as well?
Yes. Yep. We are ready. We are ready we have a donor team that is ready to talk someone through that. So absolutely.
I want to thank you again. We're running low on time, but you are always there for me on Veterans and Memorial Day. This is a different show than the Memorial Day show, but you guys came through this morning and we're getting the video thing down. And I greatly appreciate you, Sue. I greatly appreciate you, Beth. Until the end of the match, we want people to give right now at thefund.org, and I'll give the information on the other side as well. God bless you, Sue. God bless you, Beth, and be well.
Thanks, Hugh.
Thank
Same to
you.
you.